of a genie with a light brown feathers. La tia tia tia, la tia tia, light brown feathers. I dream of a genie with a light brown feathers.
Watch it, Bob!
Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for The Wise Quacking Duck, released in 1943. It's the 401st in the series and is directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Gone Collection Volume 5 DVD set. A HD version is available on the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection Volume 2 DVD and Blu-ray set. I'll have links below to both those sets. This short is under copyright, so I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube. The video will just get blocked, so don't bother asking. But in case you haven't seen this one, we see Mr. Meek is out with his axe to get a duck for his sweetie puss to make a duck dinner. But that duck, of course, is Daffy, and since this is a mid-40s Bob Clampett short, we all know that Daffy's going to cause a lot of trouble for this Mr. Meek character. So first up you're going to see is a commentary I did with my good friends Blue Genocide, who helped edit this video, and my friend Austin Kelly, and that's before I had to take that down, so at least you're going to get the highlights here. Then you're going to hear some new thoughts from me, so without further ado, let's get into it. And with me today are my fellow ducks, Blue Genocide and Austin Kelly. Say hi, guys.
How you doing? And I want to get it out of the way right now. I love this cartoon very, very, very so much. We just did Super Rabbit. Anthony, you geeked out about this one, that one. I love this cartoon. I love it so much.
Holy crap, it's Austin Kelly! Who eats chicken and a donut at the same time.
But this cartoon is great. I do think it's a little interesting seeing Clampett go for such a typical, simple Daffy or Bugs up against some random person idea, because he was usually doing something like Great Piggy Bank Robbery, which is completely off from what you would expect for a regular Daffy Duck cartoon.
I love this one too, though. I love the timing here when he's about to, that moment where Daffy just springs up, like, just freeze frame that moment, and
it's great.
It's such great timing. It's absolutely amazing.
From what I can gather, the animators on this cartoon were obviously Bob McKimson, Rod Scribner, the mainstays of the unit, Virgil Ross, Phil Monroe, who were just very also temporarily in the Clampett unit, Tom McKimson, who later would do comic art and also did a lot of stuff in Falling Hair, and one person that I'm going to mention soon that might shock some of you, and possibly some unknown animators that I can't spot.
This is such a great tour de force of animation. Absolutely love it. Why is he in the sky when he's indoors? I don't know.
It's insane. It's just, there's so much about this cartoon. Also, I want to say this is just peak animation for me. This is Virgil Ross just at his finest. Though he didn't like working for Clampett, he didn't think Clampett liked his stuff, so he went over to Frizz's unit shortly after. This was one of the last cartoons he did for Clampett, but still, as you can see, the footage is just top tier.
But yeah, it is interesting that, Bob Clampett, of course, when he was doing Daffy originally, he was just a off-the-walls, just crazy character. Then Daffy kind of mellowed out with all these other directors, including a few under Bob, and now he's just back to this insane thing. And like here, we're going to see a very phallic joke of him licking the nose. I mean, don't freeze frame that if you might be a bit too naughty there.
It's a very simple concept. That's the thing about a lot of the great Clampett cartoons. It's simple. It's like Buckaroo Bugs. Okay, it's Bugs, and he's like with a cowboy. So, oh, what is that, Yosemite Sam? No, it's very simple concept, but in execution and in the actual cartoon, it's just amazingly different from anything you would expect. Now, I want to say this striptease sequence is animated not by any of the people I mentioned, but by Disney master Art Babbitt. This is Art Babbitt's animation, and he worked in Clampett's unit for a month's time in the 40s. Dave Hilberman, who was the background artist in the McCabe-Tashlin unit, got Babbitt the job. And the drawings survive for the sequence. It's great. They survive, at least in the Clampett collection in the 70s.
And take a very quick look here at the statue, just very quickly. It's just a couple of seconds. He says, "Buy bonds for a brief moment." Like, what was the point of even writing down the shield like, you barely even see it. And true to form, Bob usually doesn't know how to end a cartoon, so it just ends, pretty much. But, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I think it's hilarious. That was Scribner, wasn't it, by the way? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Meek just then?
Scribner at his peak.
Beautiful. Gold star for me. Boy, do I miss those original commentaries. Getting a whole bunch of people together and watch cartoons and obviously make comments on them. But in any case, it is what it is. So, this Mr. Meek character, I thought I'd have a look to see if he did appear later on. And sure enough, he only appeared once in the golden age of Looney Tunes, but he actually would appear a few more times in the more modern Looney Tunes projects. He's one of those characters where, in the right setting, he could work, but it's not a character you'd want to see overused. It's a character that I think works best when used sparingly, but thankfully here, in its only appearance in the Golden Age, it's definitely makes a strong counterpoint to the wild and wacky Daffy Duck. And I gotta say, I love the character design, and I love in the beginning he's just holding that comically large axe, just like as a counterweight to him as he's walking along. It's so good. But Mr. Meek then addresses the audience, and his voice, if you are familiar with 40s radio, his voice may sound familiar. So, according to Keith Scott in his wonderful Cartoon Voices book, this is an impression of the Wallace Wimple character from the radio. It was voiced by Bill Thompson. And the Wallace Wimple character is pretty much like Mr. Meek here. He's afraid of his wife, he's living in constant fear of her, and he would have that trademark saying, "Hello, folks." In the radio show, he calls his wife Sweetie Faye, but in here, it's Sweetie Puss. So it's quite clear that Clampett really liked this character and wanted to do something with it here. In fact, this Wallace Wimple character also led to Droopy, because even Tex Avery, by this point, is at MGM, and sure enough, he created Droopy, and it's very similar in voice and tone to what this Wallace Wimple character sounds like, and it's voiced by the same person, Bill Thompson. Here in this short, he's voiced by Daryl R. Payne. I can't seem to find any information on this person, so if you guys know more about this Daryl R. Payne, definitely let me know. I've already mentioned this in the commentary track, but I just have to mention it again. How, at this point, Clampett would even seemingly edit by the frame, because if you look at the axe scene where Mr. Meek is about to swing his axe to get Daffy, and in just one frame, he's gone from lying down to the whole, "Watch it, bub." It's absolutely amazing, and just comparing Clampett right now to his work a few years ago, which, not to say it was bad or anything, but the improvement is just absolutely staggering. Then we briefly see a bit where Mr. Meek is sort of shaking and sort of talking really fast, and I believe that's reused audio from an earlier short anyway, but the origin of that comes from the Lucky Strike cigarette ad, where you got a fast-talking auctioneer. He would just talk really, really, really fast, and then he would end with the phrase, "Sold American." Here you don't hear that part, but that's basically where it comes from. Now, the catsup bit, catsup, there's a Simpsons reference right there with Mr. Burns holding the two bottles, but anyway, that bit just kills me every single time, and this is one of the proofs I use to say, hey, these shorts were not really made for kids, they were made for everyone, and this bit really does push the boundaries. I'm actually surprised the Hays Code even allowed it because of how violent it actually looks, but boy, it's just the acting by Daffy here and the voice acting by Mel Blanc, the over-top animation, just the whole gruesomeness of it. It just kills me every single time. I absolutely love it. Now, this short uses actually quite a few radio phrases that you see a lot in Looney Tunes, but in this one he seems to put a lot of it together. One of which we hear is the whole "you quashed my whittle head," and that's a reference to how the mean whittle kid character done by Red Skelton would sound like. And so if you hear something like, you know, "mean whittle" or "my whittle head" or what, and all that, that's where that all comes from. And I love how Daffy just puts his head inside his body, and then there's all that blood just splattering everywhere, and we even hear him say, "gruesome, isn't it?" And that's a saying by Jerry Colonna from the radio. So if you see a reference in Looney Tunes where it's like, "something, isn't it?" that's where that comes from. But wow, that supposed death animation is fantastic. I do have to wonder why a chicken sound is used. That makes it even more ridiculous, but hey, it's absolutely one to freeze frame. You look at those individual frames and think, how on earth did all that come together and make such a wonderful scene? But sure enough, it does. So then we enter in the house. Mr. Meek is just all depressed from killing Daffy, which he was out to do anyway, but whatever. That's what makes this more funnier, of course. And we then see Daffy say, "What's all the hubbub, bub?" And that's something that Bugs would say in Falling Hair as well. I don't know if that comes from the radio or not. I tried looking into it, but it was definitely a saying that was used quite a bit around this time. Another great bit. How many lumps does your wife usually give you? As soon as you hear that, you just shake your head and go, yeah, okay, we get it. He goes, "My wife gives me 1 lump, and Daffy, sure enough, just gives him a second one. I know my editor likes using this bit in a lot of clips, in a lot of reviews that he edits for me. But
You ain't just whistling Dixie!
the whole, "you ain't just whistling Dixie," I just love the delivery by Mel Blanc. Although, don't look up where the Whistling Dixie comes from, because that was originally a minstrel song, so I won't go further into that. There is one cheeky bit to really slow-mo, and that's at the curtain where Daffy licks Meek's nose for some reason. It's not something you might see on Warner Brothers merchandising, like on t-shirts or anything anytime soon. It's amazing what Clamper got away with here. Supposedly, he would distract the Hays Code sensors at certain bits he knew that may not pass, depending on who was actually watching it. So, if that's the case, I can actually believe it, seeing some of the stuff that he managed to get away with. So Daffy goes up in the air, which, as I mentioned in the track, that's just how bizarre this short can be at times, because apparently he's outside even though he's inside, but whatever, you just go with it. And he says, "Looks like a secret bomb site." Clearly this is a short that takes place within World War II, and they have to put some sort of reference. Just like later on, there was one little bit with the statue where it says "buy war bonds," but that's what that's referencing to. And how long is that scene? And I just realized that when rewatching it for this re-review, I guess, how over the top Daffy gets with smashing the plates, pots and pans. This scene goes on for a long time. Normally when the directors try and pad things out, when you know that they were short up on the total short, so they try and do something just to pad things out, here it's done right. Even though it's all being padded out, it just makes me get more angrier and angrier and angrier, to the point where he's frying an egg on his head, but wow. It's absolutely nuts. I love it. Now, we've already covered the strip tease, and I also had that animated test put on there as well. But I like how just after the strip tease, we have Daffy with that slight bit of lipstick. And he's using Meek's middle finger in that bit. I thought, yep, yet another thing that he got away with the Hays Code, I think. I don't know if that would have passed normally, but anyway. We hear another radio reference where Daffy's at the door and he says, "Greetings, Gate." And that was a greeting that Jerry Colonna used to Bob Hope on the radio show. In fact, there is also a Looney Tunes short called Greetings Bait, and that has a Jerry Colonna worm. So if you want to know what Jerry Colonna kind of looks and sounds like, watch that short. It's on the second volume of the Looney Tunes Collector's Choice. And we got to have a dad joke in there. "Would you like your palm red?" And he paints it red. Beautiful. Chef's kiss to that bit. Absolutely love it. And the whole short just ends in a perfect Clampett way. Just wow. And you even hear a line at the end, which is another radio reference. I didn't even think much of it, because you hear this quite a bit, actually, in just popular culture, and that's, "Now you're cooking with gas." I mean, I heard that even in the 90s, where they were promoting, like, gas stoves or whatever it was at the time. But that line came about in Bob Hope's radio show, and Jerry Colonna, yet again, was the one who said it, and this is around the time where a lot of homes were changing from wood ovens to gas ones, and it was seen as a great win for the gas industry at the time. So yeah, one line I thought was a bit of a throwaway line actually had its origins with Jerry Colonna as well, so how about that? Wow, so looking at this short yet again, this one's always a treat to watch. Even though it's annoying that I have to revisit a lot of these reviews because I have to take down the original commentaries because of the whole copyright thing with Warner Brothers, when I get to shorts like this, I'm like, you know what? This is not such a chore after all. It is a chore when you revisit stuff like Going to Heaven on a Mule, but for stuff like this, sure, why not? So this one gets a 10 out of 10. This one is a true Clampett deranged classic. This one is just insane. And even now, in me watching it, I notice a few new details, and sure enough, if I watch it again down the track, I'll probably notice something new again. But that will do it for this review. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.